Welcome to Defining Moments. I'm Suzanne Quast, and I am so excited for today's episode. We are talking with Dr. Pat Allen. She is America's #1 relationship expert. She's an advisor to Millionaire Matchmaker. She's been hailed by Oprah herself. Does it get bigger than that? She's been working with couples for 47 years, and she's a best-selling author. She has changed my life. I am now engaged, and I hope she changes yours. Here are her moments. Dr. Pat, thank you so much for being here. For those of you who don't know, a couple years ago, my fiance and I, he wasn't my fiance then, but he was my boyfriend, and we broke up. And I had a girlfriend, and she said, "Have you ever heard of Dr. Pat Allen?" And I said no, and she was like, "Oh, girl." She was like, "You have to go get her book, Getting To I Do, and go look her up online." And I had a moment, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I heard the title of the book, I was like, that felt like weirdly kind of desperate. And I was like, I'm not desperate. I don't need a man. I want a man. And then I picked it up. I read the foreword, I read the introduction, and I read the first chapter. And I was like, oh, this isn't just about getting a man. It's about learning about feminine and masculine energy. And learning, I think the most importantly, is also how to communicate.
Totally.
And so, for starters, for those people who are familiar with you and maybe who are not familiar with you, can we start with this idea that you have about masculine and feminine energy?
Well, it's not mine ideas.
Okay.
It's ancient. It's ancient in India, in foreign places. They knew that men have male bodies, but they have female souls called the yin.
And all men have this?
All men, every culture.
Okay.
And women have female bodies, but male souls, the animas. There are 4 people in every couple relationship, and that means parents, children, sisters, brothers. So when you're dealing with somebody, you've got to deal with the issue that everybody wants to be respected and cherished.
When you say everybody, so the masculine
human being wants to be respected and cherished. The problem is when people want to be respected and cherished and they meet somebody else that wants the same thing, they compete. So that's slam dancing.
Okay, but what do you mean when you say they want to compete? If you want, because I have a lot of girlfriends that now, okay.
They want respect for their thinking and their actions, and they want to be cherished for their feelings and their sensitivity. So they talk like this: I think, I want, I feel, I don't want.
Okay.
And that's competition. I am a transactional analyst. There are psychoanalysts, they're Freudian.
And for people who don't know, what does that mean?
What that means is Sigmund Freud thought that mothers were heavenly imprints on their sons, and that fathers were wonderful protectors for their daughters. And when a mother didn't respect her son, and when a father didn't cherish his daughter, those young people would go wacko. So the boys would become girl-like and want mommy, 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 and the girls would become boys. Now look here, you do this way, that way, because that's what I require. So that's a psychoanalyst. Carl Jung, who helped Bill Wilson set up the 12-step program, just to show you the impact.
Wow.
Carl Jung believed in analysis. He said, wait a minute, girls have yin bodies, but yang souls, the animas. And boys have yang bodies, but yin souls, the anima. And so what we've got to do is, I think, how do you feel about it? And what can I do to help us feel better?
So that's what you say to a that's what a masculine says. I think.
How do you feel about that? And what can I do to help us feel better? That's a gentleman or a powerful woman with a feminine woman, if it's a woman, gay, straight, whatever, because everybody's doing it. It's how you communicate. There's only 3 ways to communicate. Intimidate with fear, you better do it or else.
That doesn't work.
Seduce with guilt and shame. Guilt, look what you did, aren't you ashamed? And shame on you for being you. I teach negotiation. And negotiation is, I think this, how do you feel about it? What can I do to help you and I feel better about it? I don't feel very good about that. What do you think about it? And what can I or we do to help do it better? So I teach waltzing, not slam dancing or discoing.
What would you say now? Because I have a lot of girlfriends who say...
Well, they may not be girlfriends. They may be boyfriends in girls' bodies.
That's true, too. That's true, too. Then the feminine energy, who say, I want to be...
Yin energy.
The yin energy. I want to be equal. And nowadays, they feel like that it's... Like, why can't I be equal?
You can, as long as you don't want intimacy. It's called business. Do business, make money, or be friends, be companions. Hook up. I love that. Hook up. Have casual sex. There's groups that give each other orgasms. Do you see? That's it. They don't talk, they don't love, they just give orgasms. I can do that by myself.
Well, hopefully we all can. But, so you're saying that equality destroys intimacy?
Equality, isn't this an anti-American statement? Equality being destroying anything.
Yes.
It does. Equality.
But then what do you say to a woman? Because I have yin women or yin people in my life who say, yes, but I want to be equal. I don't want to be taken care of, but I do want to be equal, but I still want a man to court me.
Why should he court you? He should salute you and just split the bill.
Well, that's what happens a lot now.
I got news for you. That's what happens. Equality nullifies yin and yang energy. The Chinese, you know, and their yin and yang and I Ching and all that. And I love the Upanishads from India. Beware of your thoughts, for they become words. Beware of your words, they become habits. Beware of your habits, they become your character. Beware of your character, it becomes your destiny. At the bank, making money, the doctor's office, being healthy, and in every single relationship, especially the loving sexual ones.
What do you say then if somebody says, well, that sounds chauvinistic to me?
I've got news for you. It's equity. I will be a man and you will be a woman, and then I will be a woman and you will be a man. Now, what's chauvinistic about that? It's equity, not equality.
Equity, not equality.
That's right.
And then I think a lot of people in my life also get this too. I've gotten this question from viewers because I knew you were coming on.
Yes.
And this idea that if a man, the masculine energy, the yang, wants
control,
to feel,
compete, conquer.
Yes, and feel respected. That's very important.
Because they feel cherished when they're respected, and then they can cherish you because you gave it to them.
And then you will feel respected.
And then you will feel respected.
So it's not really that you can't have both.
You can have both, but not at the same time.
It's like the one is the channel to get to the other, to the end result.
You got it. In England, you got to drive on the left side of the yellow line. In America, on the right side, or you die.
Yes.
Period.
So you're saying there's basically rules.
There's equity. It's energy.
Okay. And then how do you feel, because this is a question I got a lot of, is how social media with all the apps, all the technology has impacted dating now?
It's giving us more choices.
Yes.
Remember, freedom, the highest price of freedom is multiple choices, requiring mindfulness.
Okay.
And I think mindfulness is nothing more than knowing who you are, what you want, what you don't want and have the courage to ask for it or say no to it. Men get what they want by being men. I want, how do you feel about it? Women get what they want by knowing what they don't want. I appreciate you want to have sex with me. I want to make love, and I don't want to make love till I'm in a monogamous, committed, long-term, continuous relationship. Are you ready for that on our third date?
I mean, when you put it like that, it seems insane.
It is insane, but it makes me money, so I'm hard to argue.
But then, so you say that social media gives us choices.
Multiple choices.
But then is that bad or is that
Nothing.
good?
There's nothing bad. There's a quiz for every brain, and there's a quiz for every heart. You've got to find your niche. What are you? I love to give the Myers-Briggs test.
Okay.
Which was created by Freud and Carl Jung, and then extrapolated by a mother and her daughter, Myers and Briggs. And it studies temperament. Mm-hmm. Do you see? And when I do this, I do it especially, I work for a rehab center.
Okay.
Where there's young men, and when men use, they become women, and when women use, they become men.
That's so
So
crazy.
I give them, when they're sober, a Myers-Briggs, and they see who they were created to be.
Huh.
And then I found, they wrote a wonderful book. Please, the book written by Marilyn Bates and David Kiersey is Please Understand Me. Isn't that a good title?
That is. It's beautiful. It's all what we're all looking for.
That's Marilyn Bates. Bates. David Kiersey, her partner, after she died, wrote the second edition, which was Please Understand Me Too, which is about doing work. See, the first one is personalities and relationships, and the second one is relationships in working situations, and it's wonderful. So I help people become who they were meant to be nature-wise.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Which is really a good thing. It's worked in my life, and the best compliment I've ever gotten is from one of my 4 daughters by 26.
Which is incredible.
She said to another daughter, read Mom's book even if she wrote it.
Well, I'm sure there's a little bit of that. It's like, oh, it's what Mom says.
For you. I was raised blind Catholic in Sioux City, Iowa.
I was raised Catholic in Kentucky.
And I was taught that men dominated.
Yes.
Do what they said, or else. So I had to grow up after I was grown up. I had 4 kids by 26, but I was still a doormat. Mm-hmm. Do you see? Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, I have grown up. Now I know how to be me.
What do you think of the feminist movement? I'm sure, you talked about how you grew up in Iowa, and I'm sure you've seen a lot, and especially a lot of different movements. What do you think of it now?
I think it's, right now, the Me Too program.
Yep.
I think the Me Too program is simply an extension of women's lib. Women are going for their maximum freedom to be productive. Remember, we're either a woman with a career or we're a career woman.
Okay.
If we're a career and woman, we're single. Because the only time narcissism works is if you're not married and you don't have any kids.
But why do you say that you're a narcissist if you want a career and you want to be
equally? Because the boss calls and the kid calls, you're put in dilemmas.
Got it.
So I have no problem. Narcissism is only damaging when there's intimacy.
That's powerful. So then do you think the Me Too movement is narcissistic?
I think the Me Too the Me Too program is basically inviting women to stand up for themselves at work, at home, everywhere. That doesn't mean they can't leave their balls on the nearest post outside the office.
When they go home.
Yeah, when they go home. When I said that a long time, I've been in this business 47 years. And it's funny because I've told that joke about, leave your balls at the office up on the post. And people got it. There's a way to talk business, which is I think and I want, what do you think, what do you want, let's make a deal. When I have a couple and they are married and they're working together, they can't do business and be married at the same time.
Yes.
They have to say, I want to do some business in our business. They're doing business. They're both getting paid for 2 doctors, 2 lawyers, 2 architects, whatever. They've got to set aside time when they both know they're both in their yang left lobe male. I think about this. What do you think about this?
Got it.
I don't feel good about this. Well, I feel good about this.
So what if you in the world as a woman, you're, the yang, you're powerful, you're successful.
You know what my last book is?
What?
Hay House did it. It's a man's world. They're in charge of junk. We're in charge of oxygen. It's a man's world and a woman's universe.
Wow.
Which you rather be in charge of, junk or oxygen?
What do you mean when you say junk?
Junk is every piece of property, every building, every deal, money.
But then women are in charge of the...
Oxygen. Oxygen is what you use to breathe.
I've heard of it.
And oxygen is what you use to talk. Unless you're dumb, deaf, and then use sign language. I haven't gotten that far.
So then what do you mean when you say a woman is oxygen? Literally, what do you mean? I understand it.
This is what it sounds like on a date.
Okay.
Honey, I want you to come over to my house and I want to make love to you. That's not true. He wants to screw you.
That's the man.
Yeah, that's the man. And she says, I so appreciate you want to make love to me. He doesn't, but she says so. I so appreciate you want to make love to me, but I've made a commitment to myself not to have casual sex unless I'm with someone who's socially and sexually monogamous. What's social monogamy? That you're not back on the website saying you're single.
Yeah.
And telling every girl that's interested in you, you've got a girl. And sexual is no intercourse. I don't care if you hug and you kiss. To me, the only thing big deal is intercourse, and that includes oral sex.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yes, oral, anal, vaginal. Anywhere you can get in is intercourse.
But you're saying you can make out, and that's still fine.
You can make out, you can let him go down on you, you can give him a hand job.
Oh.
Why not?
But I just felt like that was sex, no?
No. Sex is everything you taste, touch, smell, see, and hear. Everything. Do you see what I'm saying? So she says, I've made a commitment to myself not to have intercourse unless I'm with somebody who is sexually and socially monogamous, has negotiated continuity. We're in 2 different cities. How often can we see each other? And how do we pay for it? You pay for yours, I pay for it. What do we do? And the third one is, and I'm interested in getting married and having at least 1 or 2 kids.
Okay, but there's a lot of women nowadays who say, but I'm in charge of my body. If I want to have sex, I'll have sex. Then do you say to them, they can do that and they can have casual sex, but if they want...
Except that, I hate to mention this,
okay,
but I'm going to.
Please do.
Men are not safe with women that can be men sexually.
Say that again?
If he can get in, he can get in. And I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay.
You let him in, you get married. The first time you're late from work, who was he?
What?
Because he thinks you're doing what you did with him.
Wow.
Men marry virtue. Remember, marriage is not for men. Marriage is for women and children.
I would agree with that.
When a man marries, if he's a gentleman, he is taking on the responsibility for your care and feeding and the kids that follow. When women marry, they are giving up their independence voluntarily and acquiescing to his leadership because they respect him and they want him to be in charge of them.
So then what are your thoughts on monogamy?
Monogamy is whatever a couple decides. I have couples who are monogamous but they both agree they'll have 3 other lovers as part of their agreement.
3 in their lifetime? Or
No, 3 at each time.
so they'll be having sex with 4 people?
Yes.
That's a lot of people.
But one of them is their husband or wife, and they both agree to an open relationship. I am not a moralist. I'm a therapist.
I hear you. I think that's beautiful. But do you find that open relationships actually work?
Not when the kids show up. You know what happens?
What?
She doesn't feel good about passing this on to her daughters,
Got it.
or he doesn't like the idea of his son having an open. Parents, it's so amazing that human beings will do before they're married and have kids what they don't want their kids to do, and thereby they don't want to do it themselves. Men marry virtue, and women bring virtue. Whoever carries the most yin energy sets the spiritual, sensitive tone of the relationship. And there are men that are far more feminine than women,
Yeah.
and they will not screw a married woman. They will not. Do you see?
Yes.
Get a divorce? You're my girlfriend. Don't get a divorce? See you later.
But overall, as human beings, we are not wired to be monogamous.
We are polygamous by nature. The book on that is The Myth, M-Y-T-H, The Myth of Monogamy. Human beings are not monogamous. Well, penguins are.
Yeah, but
1 season.
Huh.
1 season.
So I've listened to this study that said actually there's this idea that for so long that men, it's actually harder for men to be monogamous. However,
I want you to know, because men are more tempted. We women are going for horny affection.
wait,
They want to have ejaculations in our body. We're better than towels.
okay, but the study said that actually it's harder for a woman to be monogamous because for women, as soon as they get into a relationship,
Yes.
it becomes 2 things. One is when you get into something, you feel comfortable and secure, and comfort
Totally.
and security is the death of intimacy. And that
Well, in some circles.
and that desire and mystery and the unknown is really the root of
Until you lose a good partner. On the way down here, the man that drove me, Jacob, had the benefit of me on the phone yelling at a client. You know how I do that.
yes. Oh, shoot.
Okay. This woman has decided he wouldn't obey her enough. She wanted a divorce. Well, he gave her the pleasure. He said, I'll give you the divorce to make you happy. Guess who was on the phone? Today's the day they filed the final papers. She doesn't want a divorce now.
Wow.
And so I said, okay, how about November and December, we pretend that you're a virtuous woman, and if he asks you to date, you will set my tools in effect. Monogamy, continuity, and longevity, no intercourse, because they had great sex. Can you imagine this? Great sex. They've been married 7 years.
It's amazing.
See? She doesn't know the loneliness she's going to feel losing this man. She wanted equality. She wanted respect. He doesn't run business deals by me. Duh. So I don't want to be on an airplane with 2 pilots. I want 1 pilot and 1 co-pilot.
You know, it's so funny. I have this thing with my fiance where when we're doing something and I'm like, you know, and it's who's making the decision, I'll look at him and I'll say, oh, you're landing the plane. You're landing the plane.
That's right.
As opposed to 2 people trying to land the plane.
I got news for you. Unless it's immoral, unethical, or illegal, it's competition.
Do you think intimacy can get better?
Always.
Really?
Always. Intimacy always gets better. The more you know a good human being, the better they are.
But as far as sex, like I said, like the idea of passion.
Honey, we old folks take all night to do what you do all night.
Say that again.
We old folks take all night to do what you youngins do all night.
I'm so happy to hear that.
I want you to know that as you get older, men get feminine when they get older. And they get to loving. See, men come down to feminine and we come up to masculine. As he loses his testosterone, the estrogen in his body, 45 to 55, is going to turn him into a midlife crisis feminine guy. As we get older, estrogen goes down, and the testosterone, progesterone in our body turns us into power players. Yeah. There's not a lot of jobs for old kings.
You're right.
It takes one king to a village. Lots of jobs for old queens. Babysitting, grinding corn, doing all kinds of, taking care of the sick.
Yeah.
You see? So we both end up, here's the image. This is a 30-year-old couple. He's a man, she's a woman. He's also a woman, she's also a man. This is 30.
Okay.
This is 40. Notice what's happening?
Yeah.
He's becoming slightly feminine and she's becoming slightly masculine.
Okay.
Here they are at 40. Here they are at 50. 50 is when they have their 20-year divorce and find a way to compete. I teach them how to teeter-totter.
Got it.
Teeter-totter. Now we're going to get into 60s. Who's driving the car when they're 60?
The woman?
Yeah. I used to think those were nurses. They're wives who have balls.
Amazing. So then women get hornier the older they get.
Women get hornier, is for sure.
That's so interesting.
That's nature.
Wow. I want to talk about something, because we're getting close to the end of time, and something that was really beneficial when I spoke to you. And that is, and you've addressed it a couple times today, and this idea of negotiation.
Yes.
Because I had a hard time with that at first.
Of course. You men are all the same.
No, I'm actually more feminine. I'm very feminine.
Well, if you're very feminine, you wouldn't have had any problem negotiating. You would just said, yes, sir.
Really? But I felt like that was like, but this is not a business transaction.
Oh, wait a minute. You're doing business with your fiancé?
No, but that's what a negotiation felt like to me.
I got news for you. It is. Except it's a negotiation between a thinker and a feeler. When you're at work, you're doing think. You have to separate. I have mine put on baseball caps or put a flag up. They have to know when they're doing male stuff. 2 doctors, 2 lawyers, when they're both doing business. Mm-hmm. You see?
Well, I ended up following your advice, and it's something my fiance and I we've negotiated, and I say that, but we've talked about all things.
So he says what he thinks and asks you how you feel about it.
Yes.
And you say what you feel and ask him what he thinks about it.
Yes, in terms
That's called waltzing.
Well, I'm glad we're waltzing, honey.
I teach waltzing verbally.
Well, but we talked about how are we going to raise children? Who's
Exactly
going to
right.
raise, or who's going to, make our money?
There's 3 kinds of relationships. There's convenient. You both make money and you both babysit.
Okay.
Both of you do the same jobs.
Okay.
And you divide them up. Chores.
Okay.
The second one is codependency. One person wants respect and cherishing. Remember I told you that?
Yep.
The other person wants 0.
They want nothing. That seems impossible.
They just do it. Go to Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
The third one, hardly anybody knows. It's called the covenant relationship. But it was legal in Louisiana, Arizona, Minnesota, and Michigan. Now it's only legal, you got to sign, in Louisiana. This is one where one person is the breadwinner, pays all the bills.
Okay.
And the other person is the homemaker, takes care and makes sure the home runs well. Do you see?
Yes.
Once they sign those that's marriage plus this. That's 2 marriage licenses.
That's a lot of licenses.
And I got news for you, but it gets the bills paid and the house done.
But what if you're a woman who wants, because again, this is very relevant.
Then she goes into a convenient relationship where she either dollar for dollar a man or percentage. He makes $1 million, she makes $500,000. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
That's how you handle money. Dollar for dollar or percentage.
So even if one of them, or what if one of them's the breadwinner and one of them stays at home, then it's not.
That's a covenant.
So then that's different.
And a codependency is one person is a doormat, takes care of everything, money and chores, and the other one is a couch potato and a drunk.
Well, that I could tell you stories about
They're
that.
pain addicts, norepinephrine addicts.
Pain addicts.
Pain addicts.
They
had so much pain under the age of 3 that pleasure brings them discomfort. Pain makes them comfortable. Why did she marry another drunk?
Wow.
Why did he stay with her? The book on that is A Taste for Pain by Maria Marcos.
Okay.
She's Danish shrink.
Uh-huh.
And it's been translated into English, and it costs $150 a book.
Oh my God, that's expensive.
I understand that, but there's a lot of handling and a lot of whatever. It's not for public distribution.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it is.
But
A Taste for Pain. These people have to work on enjoying pleasure.
that's so interesting. Do some addicts feel that way?
Yes.
And it does happen before the age of 3?
No, you have to. Look, up to the age of 3, you are imprintable, literally neurobiologically imprintable. You're thinking, beware of your thoughts, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
It marks your nervous system so that they have a new form of therapy, TMS, transcranial manipulative stimulation. Okay. For people that are suicidally self-destructive.
Okay.
You see, sometimes people are drug addicts and alcoholics as a comfort so they can stay alive.
Huh.
When they stop drinking, they get so suicidal. It used to be electrocardiogram, like shock treatment. Now we've gone to EMDR, eye movement rapid desensitization. Be sure you read the book, Getting Past Your Past, by Francine Shapiro, who created EMDR. Now they have a cap they put on you and run electromagnetic energy through to cleanse off your nerves.
And that works? It's not dangerous? It's just...
It's not dangerous. What it does is smooth out those engravings on your nerves.
I feel like everyone could have a little bit of that.
It's only freely. I've had four clients that were young, rich, came from rich families because this used to be very costly. Now it's cheaper because it's under insurance.
Oh.
But I've had 4 whose lives were saved from suicide.
Wow.
Because the alcohol and the drugs were self-medicating.
Yep.
But they weren't healing. So this literally, within a short amount of sessions, rewire your brain.
Wow. I would like to bring you back and talk to you about that because I have a lot of addicts that I know, and I think that's something
Feel
that could
free.
be...
I like to talk.
Okay, so we get to the end round where I ask you some questions.
What's the question?
Right. So women hearing this today, what is the one thing you would want them to walk away from this interview knowing?
Do you want to be a career woman or a woman with a career, or both? There's a way to talk if you're a woman, and there's a way to talk if you're a man. But the man, the one that wants to be the man, has to be willing to be with artistic, creative, sensual, sexual toy boys.
Oh, so you're saying if you're more of a masculine woman.
We're all trying to get laid or paid. All of us.
What do you mean we're trying to get laid or paid?
Harvard did a study. And
what am I trying to be?
You're trying to get paid. Dude, you're showing that rock. Oh, I don't need that stone. I'll take a gold band.
Okay, but what does that mean, paid?
And I've got news for you. You're not ugly enough not to be a lay. Men pick with their eyes, women pick with their ears. And the book on that is The Evolution of Desire by David Buss, B-U-S-S.
Amazing. Okay, what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
The best piece of advice I've ever been given is basically beware of your thoughts, for they become words. I'm a transactional analyst. I'm a marriage, family, child therapist. I have an office in Orange County and one in LA. God forbid I shouldn't do a little bit of a commercial.
You absolutely should. We'll put your information below.
Go to drpatallen.com. That's my website.
Yes.
See?
As you should.
Yes.
She's the best. She
I'm
is.
not the best. I'm one of the best.
No, you can own it. You're the best.
You know what's really interesting? Sweden has trouble. They don't marry in Sweden.
Oh,
They just
I didn't know that.
No. So they were going to do a film, a film series, and they picked 10 American therapists who were good at this particular. I'm one of them. I got to do the dating one.
Amen. I believe it, though. That's what I'm saying. You're an icon.
I'm one of the best.
Yes. Okay, what's the most difficult decision you've ever had to make to fulfill your greater purpose?
I'll be very, very honest.
Okay.
Very, very honest. After my husband died, before my husband died, I met a retired member of the Navy SEALs.
Okay.
Fell madly in love. And then the war started up and they wanted him to come back in and do it. And he basically asked me to stop Pat Allen, which is my career, and come with him as his woman.
Wow.
I said no.
Wow.
And the reason I said no is I hadn't completed my message. And my message is, it's a man's world and a woman's universe, published by Hay House. Have you got that?
I do.
It's a summary of my philosophy. It is so deep that I know somebody after me, after I'm gone, will take it apart and promote it. The One Institute, which is my teaching center, will carry the message on.
Wow.
That was the hardest thing for me to do.
Because you really loved him.
I really loved him and he really loved me.
Wow.
But luckily, Navy SEALs operate under the same premise. Do what you gotta do for the right cause.
Oh, wow, that's really beautiful.
It is.
So you gave it up to
I
fulfill
gave
your
up.
greater purpose.
That's right.
Wow. Well, that kind of brings me to my last
Tears.
questions. It does. I'm actually, yes. No, because that's heartfelt. That's hard.
I'm a Stoic. Marcus Aurelius.
You are a softie underneath that.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I guess this piggybacks on what you just last said. But
What did I say?
if you could define the legacy you want to leave behind.
Stoicism. Do what's right even if it hurts.
Do what's right, even if it hurts.
That's right.
And that's the legacy.
Hedonism wants gratification for the body. Stoicism wants satisfaction for the soul.
I mean, do you want to drop the mic? When you say something so profound, you have to drop the mic. There's
Well, I
nothing
don't
left
know
to
that.
say. See? I taught you something.
What?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having a conversation with me.
I would love to continue this conversation. I hope this was informative as it was for me, for you guys at home. She is an icon. She is a legend. You should go get her books. You will not disappoint.
Come to the first Monday at Courtyard Marriott in Culver,
Oh, in Culver City. I have actually gone to those. They're really good.
7 to 8:30.
She's amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.